Welcome to Aisle Talk, where we bring you the best recipes and culinary tips straight from the family fare kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Britt, and I'm thrilled to be your guide on this delicious journey. In the kitchen with Eric Rouleau. He is in digital marketing for SpartanNash, and I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Britt, awesome to be here. I'm just glad to be part of this.
For sure. So marketing, digital marketing, that whole lump sum of things is huge. Briefly, what's work for you? What do you do?
Me? So I'm mainly a marketing strategist here at SpartanNash. And so my job is helping to communicate all the great things that we do out there on all the different social media channels that we have, in any kind of way that I can get the word out there about the things that we do.
Social media is just so huge right now too. I mean, I know I'm guilty. You get soaked into that scrolling. But in a way, how much you learn so much though too.
One of the facts that's out there is you scroll 300 feet of Facebook a day, or you spend about 2 hours on social media a day, and you don't realize it, right? You're spending these micro moments, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. All of that adds up throughout the day.
It does. That's great. It's kind of I don't want to think about that, but it's probably true. I am guilty, 100% guilty. I know we work together, but I know that you have a very busy family life as well.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I've got 4 boys, and they're all ages 10 and under. So 10, 8, 5, and 2. So very, very busy, as you mentioned.
Oh, yeah. So I know that you really, focus on healthy lifestyle and things like that. Have you found it difficult with the boys to try to get them in that as well?
It's definitely challenging to say maybe the least on that. My wife and I, we put together a really good plan, and the plan stems from having a really good calendar of the meals that you're going to have throughout the week. And then I think from a nutrition standpoint, everyone tends to be a picky eater, especially kids. And when you have 4 of them, they're all picky eaters, all in their own way. And so we found different ways to really help our meal planning meet the needs of each kid's pickiness.
Okay. So are you making different meals for each one, or are you guys that's got to be challenging?
Yeah, so we start out the week. So I'll start with my Sunday a little bit. Okay. So Sunday is my planning day. Okay. Sunday, I sit down, and usually it's at breakfast, and I'm doing a little bit of an audit of the pantry to say, okay, what the heck do we have, right? We went through last week, what's left in the pantry for the next week. And then as the kids start waking up and they start coming down for breakfast, I really work with them to understand, what do you guys want to have to eat this week, right? What do you want to have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this next week? And then based on that, we'll kind of put together our grocery order. Best thing is my local grocer delivers groceries. So put in the order and we have that in by noon, and we're ready to go for the week. But a lot of it starts with that planning. And I think with the calendar, so it sits there in the kitchen and the kids can see that and they like it. I've got kids that come down every morning and they're like, hey, when I get home from school, we're going to have this for dinner. And they get pretty excited about it.
Right.
But I think that helps with kind of getting over the pickiness, because they get to pick it on Sunday, and 2, they get to visually see that throughout the week so that they know what's coming, right? It's not a surprise. It's not like they come home at 5 o'clock. It's oh, what are we having for dinner? It's I already know.
So do they get involved with you guys in the kitchen cooking?
Oh yeah. Definitely. Yeah. They can be hit or miss on that, with 4 kids, and, some of them being a little bit older, they have friends in the neighborhood that they want to play with and attend to and have activities to after school.
Right.
But those that don't, they do help out in the kitchen quite a bit. Some of their favorite things to make at night are things like pancakes. And we really get into, one of my sons calls it confetti spaghetti pancakes. But
elaborate, please.
Yes, you make pancakes, but instead of making them in the traditional circle, you put it in a Ziploc bag, and you're going to take and squeak it out almost like icing on a cake.
Okay.
And you're going to make these long noodle shaped pancakes. And that way you can create a spaghetti style pancake. And what we do is we use Kodiak, so a protein powder based pancake mix to make it a little bit healthier. And the kids get to have fun making that. So that's one of them that they have fun with. The other big one, I think we do this at least once a week, is letting the kids make their own pizza, right? A lot of people order pizza in and have that, right? It's full of calories, full of a lot of things, but we'll use small little pita breads, the round ones. We'll lay them out, and this becomes an activity for you and the kids. So they get to lay it out. You've got 5 or 10 minutes of activity, put your sauce on, put your cheese on, put whatever toppings you want on, and then you're cooking it for 10 to 15 minutes. Easy meal, great activity for the kids, but really gets them involved in the kitchen.
I love that.
Yeah.
We do pizza too. So that's actually one of our like a holiday tradition that we always do, like pizza night. And it's just come into one of these things that like it could never go away at this point because it's just stuck. But I think pizza's perfect because everybody wants something different on their pizza.
Yep.
So like now that we're on the topic, they're like, I need to know what's like your pizza because I'm going to judge you for this.
Top topping in our household is pineapple, and then the swing topping is whether or not you're going to have pepperoni on it or not.
Okay, so like we actually just became best friends because I love pineapple on pizza. So I do something that's called like the meat, heat, and sweet. So I like the pineapple, and then I like to have either, bacon or pepperoni, any of those is fine. I'm not super picky, but then I put jalapeno slices on it.
Oh my gosh.
So you have like the salty from the meat, you have your pineapple, your sweet, and then your spicy. So it's like the perfect pizza combination ever. The meat, heat, sweet.
Got it. Now I'm going to be the weirdo. My favorite pizza topping is green olives. So that's like my favorite thing. If I get pizza, it's green olives all the way on it.
I love green olives. Like a olive burger or something like
Yep.
that. Like
Yes.
people like look at me weird and I'm like, no, it's so good. I love it. But I was also the kid that like would have a can of black olives.
Oh.
And like fill my fingers with them, and like I'd put a black olive on every finger and then sit there and eat it. Like you're looking at me like you've never done that before.
I just don't like black olives. So.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
green olives, and then I draw the line there.
There you go.
So.
Okay. Are you like all green olives, like blue cheese stuff?
I do all this stuff like for jalapenos. I'll do the stuff with the garlic. Blue cheese is one of those cheeses that I just don't get as close to. So
and I feel like blue cheese is one of those like you're either a lover or hater. Yep. There's like no in between on that.
It's over there with the black olives for me. So
I think meal planning though is huge. Our family does stuff very similar to that as well. We've gotten into big too, where the kids now, they only want to pack their lunch. They don't want to eat school lunch anymore. And I think that was a big, because I remember being a kid and it was like pizza day at school, or when they had the Bosco sticks, I think is what they were called. It was like, those were like the best school. But now it's like the kids have definitely like, I think charcuterie has affected this so much though, because they want to make their own kind of snack box. So do your kids, do they tend to pack, or?
They're a little hit or miss on that one too.
Okay.
It's been nice because the school offers that today as an option for us. So it is one less thing that we do at night. Sometimes the kids do pack, and when they do pack, it's like what you're saying, like kind of the snackle boxes of it, right? So they're putting the Ritz crackers in there. They're putting, a meat and a cheese inside of there. And then for some odd reason, they're grabbing a cereal to fill the fourth spot in it.
Oh, for sure. Gracie's big on like oranges. She loves oranges and popcorn. Like my 5-year-old could eat like an entire bag of popcorn every single day. And
oh my gosh.
She loves popcorn, which I mean, there could be worse, right? Like I'll take it as like her snack of choice for sure. She's also she only likes water and like milk. She hasn't crossed over that bridge of wanting like those sugary drinks yet. And so I'm trying to hide her from that like as best as I can.
Well, that's one of the difficult things I think we went throughout the years is with having 4 kids, you have different allergens that they have to overcome throughout the time too. So we've got some that are lactose intolerant, that have to not have as much dairy products. We've had some that have been allergic to beans, for a temporary period of time that we've went to allergists for. So you end up having this meal plan that you have for the week, and then you're constantly adjusting to the unique needs of each individual kid that's out there. So not even a pickiness by choice, it's a pickiness by, having to adapt to what they have to for their body. So
we have no allergies so far, so I'm hoping that it stays that way, but we'll see what happens. So in this busy lifestyle and I mean health conscious and all that, like I know that you do work out frequently, don't you?
Yep, I do.
So I believe you ride bikes and so what's some of that?
A little bit of a story. I mean, there's a lot involved in it. So I'm a triathlete, so I do swimming, biking, and running. I'm currently training for a marathon in that aspect. And then from a workout standpoint, each morning I'm a 5 o'clock gym guy. Like I'm there every single morning. But I do HIIT training, which is high intensity interval training. So it's a lot of quick lifting and things like that to get your heart rate up for the day. And I do that in a group workout setting. Okay. So I'm very dedicated to that on an ongoing basis.
Is that every morning?
Every morning. Yep. My alarm goes off at 4:30 each morning.
Way more disciplined than I could ever be, but that's awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, that's part of it. I mean, like when you get into these routines and these lifestyles, like with me, with a larger family, a busy lifestyle, what I found for this is you got to do it first thing in the morning. You almost got to do it, get it out of the way before the day hits you, right?
Right. Do the kids, are they involved in that with you at all as well? Or the family? Is that like, do you guys do like I think turkey trots, and there's different like, things like that?
Yeah, so we participate, or we try to participate at least in like one event a month throughout the year. And so that could be like a 5K race, which is about 3 miles. My oldest son, who's 10, he's really, adapted to that. He really gets excited about that. So he's in a lot of different sports. So he's in football and soccer and basketball, and the running really, really helps. It helps keep him motivated in that. The other kids are, a little bit too young for that yet, and they're getting there. But we do a lot of things to incorporate that into our lifestyle. So for example, our daycare is about 1.5 miles away from our house, and we'll walk there or we'll run there to pick up the kid, after school. So trying to incorporate those types of things, and they kind of aspire to do those things as they get a little bit older.
Right. Max is in Boy Scouts, so he's done like, the hikes and different things like that. We love like anything swimming. I think our family can join in that. I mean, they can do it for hours. Like sometimes I don't know how the kids are still moving. And Gracie, our 5-year-old, she is big in gymnastics right now. So that was something new. And she started doing aerial arts.
Yeah.
And so, as a mom of a 5-year-old, I'm looking up at my 5-year-old like 20 feet off the ground, just in this like rope fabric thing, and there's nothing holding her. And, that mom instinct, I'm like, oh yeah, don't fall, but then part of me is like, she knows what she's doing. She's been trained, but she's definitely our little active. She's everywhere. It's crazy.
You get a really big sense of pride when you see the accomplishment of the kids, and especially like in these running events too. Like I see them, like my oldest son, Jack, he's 10, and the first couple miles, you really start to see the mental toughness that a kid has, and when youth is going through that, it can be challenging, right? You think about, hey, I'm gonna go run a mile, I'm gonna go run another mile, and then I'm gonna run a third mile, and so a lot of it is I probably annoy all the other runners when I'm running, but I'm cheering on my son the whole time. The first mile, I'm like, hey, come on, I'm yelling out his time. The second mile, cheering, come on, yelling out his time, and then when we get to that final mile. If you've done like track running before, a time around the track's about a 1/4 mile. So we start talking to each other in that language, and we're like, hey, it's four laps around a track.
Right.
Like that's what you got left. We got 3 left. You got 2 left. And then when it's 1, you're just going to let it all out. And then we really get to celebrate together. And it's such an amazing experience.
That's awesome. When you're running and things, are you listening to music at all or working out?
Yeah.
Are you guys music listeners?
Yeah, my oldest son and I, when we run, we have like this 1-ear policy, right? So because you got to be able to listen still to the others, so we put in opposite ears, and we are kind of talking the whole time. We're usually talking about the goals or where we're at or what we're seeing along the way. We run a lot in the Grand Rapids area, and there's a lot of bridges that the runs run over, so it's really neat because we run over and we're looking at the river and those kinds of things. So it's very experiential in the things that we're doing.
That's awesome. What are you guys listening to? What's your music choice while you're with?
My son really likes Justin Bieber and Marshmello. So those are the 2 topics of choice there. I just listen to a lot of rock music along the way. So going on in the background.
Yeah. Yep. I like it. And our tendencies, like my husband's very like, I feel like he picks something different all the time, and I don't know what it is. And like, don't judge me for this, but like it's the 90s, like old hip hop R&B that
that's
just gets me going. Yeah, like
it's got a steady beat. It keeps you going. So
for sure, I have to do that. Within the lifestyle, I know, like, what are some tips and tricks that you have for meal planning, setting your families up for success, really, to be able for it to run that smoothly?
I think the calendar is the big thing, and if you start every Sunday with here's what I'm planning to do, and if you can get 70-80% of that right, you're going to be much more stress free. You're going to feel like you reached the goals that you had for that week. You're going to feel like you had the meals that you had. I mean, prior to having this calendar, I can remember 3 years ago, it was 5 o'clock every night, and we'd be going to the what's in the pantry, what can we make, what can we do, and then we'd be pulling up an app and ordering food that was probably unhealthy for us, food that it was just quick to come because we had to solve something. We had to solve it quick. We hadn't planned out for it. So, being very planned out in our approach, I think helps us out in a really big way. Being very intentional about what you're doing. And then, talking to, especially with a family of kids, talking about the things that we're going to do throughout the week. So it helps everybody get really aligned to the plan. Like, hey, here's what we say we're going to do for the week. Now you can have backup plans and there's always things that are going to happen throughout the week. But like I said, if you get like 80% of that right going into it, you're going to do okay.
For sure. It can't be perfect all the time. It just doesn't work that way. With being a chef, and especially within a grocery store, like different samples and oddball things that just like accumulate in the pantry.
Yeah.
We started doing like once in a while, we'll call it like chop night. And so with there being like 3 kids, each kid will go into either the refrigerator or the pantry and pick like one random thing. And then they challenge me to be able to like make dinner out of it. And there's been some definite fails in that process, but it's also kind of fun because then they see like something that, typically they would never eat or never. And then they're like, oh, well, it's in this and it's good, so that's
and you're planning for it, right? You're planning for the kind of unprepared, impromptu chefing. So that's super cool.
Yeah. And I think it kind of like keeps me on my toes a little bit too, of like coming up with like, I think one time it was like this, like Korean barbecue sauce one of the kids grabbed, and then there was like broccoli, and I forget what the meat was. I want to say it was like bacon or something like that, which like, you use a little bit, and we ended up, I did kind of like a pho in a way, like kind of, threw some stuff in different veggies and like, they called it like soup, but it was, it worked out, but it was also, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awful. So, but it's good to like have, different things like that. And I think it gives them like different flavor profiles to try as well.
It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, if you had come into our house and you were having a dinner, you probably wouldn't notice that you were eating maybe healthier than what, like a normal family would eat. Like one of the big things that we do is we make sure like with ground beef, like we're always 90% lean or higher. And so you think about things like spaghetti and hamburger and lasagna, all those kinds of things, like we're naturally putting that inside of the food. And then, our kids, they really like, so like you think about spaghetti, like the noodles are the real carb heavy part. Right. We get on the spaghetti squash side.
I love the spaghetti squash.
It's awesome.
It's delicious.
Our kids like it too. So like it took a little while for them to get used to that. I think the texture and those kinds of things with it, but we do some of those small replacements on top of that. So, you think about like throughout the week, you're trying to incorporate these healthy things. There's normal meals that you can make and just have some simple ingredient swaps that really help you out in the overall, health initiative.
Definitely. One of our kind of like hacks has been the like cheeseburger salad. Instead of going and getting like, a cheeseburger, a Big Mac somewhere or something like that, we turn it into a salad. So we do like the lettuce, ground beef, pickle, onion, tomato, and then we make like the sauce, and they will eat it up. And so it's kind of been like a replacement to where they feel like they're having that guilty pleasure item, but it's a salad.
It's like an unwich.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love an unwich. So that's been like kind of something that they've really done, really liked. And then also we have a Blackstone now. And so that has helped a lot, because I feel like even just having them outside, like cooking on it, they feel like they are on top of the world. Like they are, we'll do different like rices and different things like that out there. And like, even just like hibachi night, like different things, but getting them out there, and they're using like the big spatula, and they love that for sure.
Yeah. We've got a Blackstone too. And that's like our favorite. I mean, I thought when I first got it, the biggest hack for me on that was you had this like big griddle and you could cook breakfast in a really big way. I probably did more breakfast than anything else when I started with that. But like what you were saying, I mean, doing rices, doing the cut up meats, doing the cut up vegetables, even the pizzas like we talked about earlier, like so doing like a flat out bread where the kids make them and you put them on there. I mean, it creates a really great surface area to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's one of my like favorite purchases, I think, that we use all the time for sure. How do you guys get away from the kids not having soda or like limiting soda? Do you just not have it? Because I feel like that's been definitely a struggle.
Yeah, generally, I mean, it's just not in our household. I think that's like the number one thing. Like if you're trying to avoid something, get away from it, just don't have it in the house, right? True. Like that's one of the big things. They do like juices, right? And I think there's no kid that doesn't like juices, right? So we do keep those around, but most of them are really big on water. I mean, water bottles.
Do they do the flavors in the water?
we have them, and they do like some of those. But most of them are good with just drinking water and just drinking milk.
But I think now too, especially you can get a new water bottle anywhere, and the newest, coolest thing. But I really do think that they help like with consuming water, because they're like, I got this cool cup I get to drink water out of, Well, Eric, it has been awesome. I appreciate you coming, hanging out with me, talking all things like nutrition, family, stuff like that. I really appreciate it. So I like to kind of end podcasts with like 3 like rapid fire questions. Okay. And so like just first thing that comes to mind, just like spit it out. Sound good?
Okay, sounds great.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color? I like green. Okay. Green's always been my favorite color. So
if you could travel anywhere, where would you go?
California or Florida or some place like that. United States that maybe I've been before, or maybe that I'd like to explore more of.
Okay. I know you're a healthy eater. We've talked about this, but I need to know, what's your one unhealthy guilty pleasure?
Either Reese's peanut butter cups or just like giant chocolate chip cookies. So those are 2 good ones, and I think it's the sugar that gets you in those ones. Like
Reese's cups,
I could eat
especially
those.
there's something different about the Reese's egg. I don't know why, but there is.
I don't know what they do with that. It's like softer chocolate or something. So.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, and hopefully we can get together and talk again soon. Thanks for tuning in to I'll Talk. Please subscribe, comment, and leave a review. Don't forget to visit Family Fair's website for products and resources mentioned in this episode. Until next time, happy cooking.